A lot of our young black men are not graduating high school, period. This is a serious problem for you, the community, and especially for them. However, I'm here to give a couple of tips that can actually help us increase the amount of young black men that's actually graduating high school. All right? So get ready, pay attention, and send this video to other parents, send it to your kids, send it to your nephews, your nieces, send it to the grandparents, send it to anybody who can use this because they got a young male, a young black male, young Latino male, young minority male, shoot, any race that is just not doing what they need to do. Here go a couple of tips. Put young men in after school activities. Now, these after school activities can range from different things as sports, clubs, student body. Now, let's think about it for a second. How can this help young black men increase their graduation rate? Well, one thing is if you put them in sports, they learning leadership skills, all right? They're not running around talking about, yeah, I'm just a big homie and I tell others what to do. No. The leadership that you'll learn in sports, even in debate club, other clubs in school, when you're inside a leadership position, student body, especially as a student, you're learning merit-based leadership. That means that you're doing something. And you get in that position because you're doing it well, which will help increase their self-esteem. In other words, they also won't be thinking selfishly because when you put a young man on a sports team, let's say it's basketball, and they're the captain of the team, they're not just thinking about themselves. They got to think about the whole entire team. Get them involved in debate. If you got a debate team, if you have a student government team, some type of club, it doesn't matter. As well as the sports, it doesn't matter. Just put the young black men in something. One of the biggest things is when you got kids a part of after school programs, that comes with good mentors. Another thing about after school programs is you get mentorship. Mentorship is extremely important, especially the young men. They got somebody to look up to. They got somebody to steer them in the right way. And also, they got somebody that's going to be on them to get their grades right. Let's say they acting up in math class. They like, I don't feel like doing it. Whoop. The coach can easily go to the math teacher. I still seen grades change like that. Also, even if they on the chess club, it doesn't matter. The mentors there will look after them and make sure their academics is right. Because if they ain't doing good inside the classes, they got to get pulled off the team. And trust me, the mentor doesn't want to pull them off the team. They don't want to get pulled off the team. Even the teacher that class that they failing in don't want them pulled off the team. So you put them on a team, you got another advocate, somebody that's out there to make sure that your young man is actually doing well. Another good thing about after school activities are that your kid is not running the streets. Because this is after school, where they at? They inside of the school, they inside of a safe place. You got other adults looking after them. It's more secure. As opposed to letting them out there inside the streets. You don't know where they at. You don't know what they doing. At least when inside the school, you know they there. You can make a call. Well, your kid's there. Everything is good. The next thing that we have to pay attention to is the hip-hop thug archetype. Yeah, I'm going to say it again because it's going to throw over some people's heads. It's going to go over. We need to pay attention to the hip-hop Thug Archetype. Yes, when it comes to a lot of young black men, they look up to that archetype. Now, what do you mean? If anybody ever saw Power, Ghost from Power, that's that archetype. A lot of their favorite hip hop artists, you know, the big, strong, masculine guy, but he's selling, he's scamming, he's pimping, doing a whole bunch of crazy activities. The first thing I would say is, let your young men understand this is just entertainment. That's the way I look at it. If I'm listening to hip hop or if I'm watching some show like Power or some hood movie, I know at the end of the day it's just entertainment. These are actors. It may even help if you let your kids look at the actors. Like Google search them. Google search who plays these roles. And let them see what's this person life. Oh, they just acting. Because you don't have somebody running around acting like Batman or Captain America or one of these superheroes out here. Real talk. And I'm talking about this from 20 years of working with kids in schools, juvenile detention centers, group homes, after school programs. That thug archetype is the reason that when you got positive adults coming and speaking to these kids, it flies right out the window because they're looking at the flashy stuff that's inside the music videos. They're looking at the flashy stuff that's on TV. So let them know that hip hop thug archetype is just entertainment. The next thing is get into the bag. That is holding back a lot of young black men from graduating. Yup. A lot of young black men are looking at, yo, I gotta look fresh. I gotta have that status. I gotta be tough. I gotta chase all the chicks. All the chicks gotta want me. And as we know, when I just was speaking about the hip hop thug archetype, that's the one. That's the one that most of these young men want to emulate. And part of that is the economic power of the hustler. So you got a 13-year-old like, yo, I got to be fresh. I got to do this. I got to look good. So what they going to do? Most likely, they're going to sell some drugs. They're going to start getting into scamming. And that leads them right to prison. And that lowers the graduation rate. This is something that's serious. So I'm going to tell you a nice little tip. Put them inside school with a uniform. They less likely to talk about, yo, I got the kicks, or I dress better than you. Look what I got. Simply put, you eliminate that whole entire thing. Also, they less likely to skip school because their clothes is not as fresh or their clothes is not there. Because if everybody's wearing a uniform, that just cuts through the BS. That's extremely important. And just to clarify, I'm not talking about part-time jobs. Because if you ask me, a part-time job, if a young man could get it, even when they're in high school, it's great. It's great. However, when it comes time to, the drugs, selling, moving work, that's where the issues come in. They're not going to get locked up for working a job, flipping some pizza or delivering some goods. No. They're going to get caught up for selling some crack or some heavy drugs. Just think about it. Which comes to my next thing. Listening to hood affirmations. What are hood affirmations? Well, the major hood affirmations I would say are drill music, trap music. Yo, these forms of music, like I said, It's not an attack on them. But listen to the lyrics. The lyrics will not help you graduate. The lyrics don't promote none of that. The lyrics promote jail life. The lyrics promote killing others. This is wild. And even right now, they talking about the dead. I thought that was off limits. I mean, come on. You really got to think about some of this stuff. Is this going to help a lot of young people graduate? So I'm going to go back to saying, to help eliminate a lot of them negative affirmations that's in drill and trap music, because you ain't going to just stop your kids from listening to it like that. I'm just going to let you know. They ain't even going to stop. However, it could be balanced out. Like I said, after school activities, right off the back. They'll have mentors, programs, and these other things that they'll be doing will help counter a lot of that mindless listening to this type of music, because this music hits the subconscious mind, and all of a sudden you're walking around thinking that you're a thug. It's crazy, but music has power. Music has power over the subconscious mind, whether you want to believe it or not. You start walking funny. I catch people just dancing like this, making gun gestures. It's crazy, but sometimes you, especially with a young person, their brain ain't even cooked. There's research out there that tell you that brain ain't baked until about 22, 23. So you already creating the environment for crazy negative behavior, which will end up leading them not to graduate, but to go into the penitentiary. Now this one here, we're going to call parental involvement. So that means parents being involved. One of the major tips that I will give is have a working phone number or have an email address. Extremely important. No matter what it is, if you can. Trust me, I understand. Times be hard. Trust me, I'll be going through the drought too. Currently am right now. But if you can, have a working cell, house number, something. An email address. Have that so that the teachers or staff members can communicate with you on your child's progress. Because a lot of times, a teacher, staff member can bring it to your attention that your kid ain't doing too well. And guess what? It could be nipped in the behind right then and there. And all of a sudden, good grades is going up. Or they doing well in whatever activity it is. That's extremely important. Also, if you know they got an uncle, an aunt, a sister, a brother that they look up to, or somebody inside their, community, or somebody inside the family, pass that number on too if they cannot get in contact with you. Just somebody that can give the message to you, or somebody who can encourage this young person, do a little bit better. Now this one, I'm speaking to myself as a reminder. Parents, be careful how you act around your kids when at the school and you have a disagreement. Because at my daughter's school, I done seen parents get out the car and curse out the school crossing guard because they asked the parents, can you please move the car over to this side so that the bus could get through? Parents like, I don't care, I'm doing what I want to do. Now your kids see that. How you think they're going to act when it comes to authority? And authorities ask, can you please do this? And then you're giving that attitude. I done seen parents at my daughter's school sometimes even come out and curse out staff members. Don't do that in front of your kids. Because all you're doing is just teaching them how to be disrespectful to authority. Which is, yes, and I will say, which will and possibly lead to them getting locked up. I'm just saying. Also, as well as you You want to give a good example. And sometimes it's hard. And trust, like I said, I'm talking to myself with this one. I'm sure I may mess up. I'm saying we all human. But try not to. Let's just try to be the good example. At least if we want to flip, don't do it with the kid around. Because trust me, this kid is going to come back like, yo, my mom said this, my dad said, I ain't got to listen to you. And what if the staff member's the person that could keep your kid out of jail, or the person who can actually save your kid's life, but they don't want to listen? I'm just saying, it's just something to think about. Next one, make sure your kids go to school. Attendance is very important. Now, when I used to work for non-secure detention, I had to take students back and forth to court. And at times, you know, these kids, they did little crimes or whatever. The judge would ask, you know what? How's this kid's attendance? Because most of the time, if their attendance was good, the judge could be like, guess what? We're going to go send you back home. Because if their attendance is good at school, most likely, it's like, all right, there's some structure there. However, I have seen kids who was almost ready to go home. The judge is going to send them. And the prosecutor comes out of nowhere like, yo, so-and-so been absent 44 days. 44 days? Yep, 44 days. You know what that means? If you absent 44 days, that means remand, you're going back to the facility. And this was non-secure detention. This is like a group home setting and stuff. And if you act up even more, they put you in secure, which is, you know, with the big key, the real juvenile jail system. So think about that. Your attendance, make sure that if you're a young person, take your behind to school. I ain't even talking about good grades and all that. I ain't even say that. I just said go to school. Because if you are out there, you do get in trouble, at least your attendance will have a way of, you know, help saving you. And also for parents, make sure your kid go to school. Because at the end of the day, if they out there inside them streets wilding out, and let's say you got some little ones at home, Child Protective Services may be looking at your refrigerator. That's just how it is. And if you're a young person listening to what I'm saying, do what you need to do and go to school. Because you got little brothers and sisters. That's where part of the maturity, part of the leadership comes in. Think about them, not just about yourself. So school attendance, as we all know, if you take your behind to school, guess what? You're more likely to graduate. And the next one I want to talk about is community-based organizations. Get your kid involved in those if there's no after-school programs. I'm not sure what state you're in. However, there's a lot of nonprofit organizations in New York City that they go to school and check up on the kid. These are preventative services to keep them from going into the juvenile system. Matter of fact, states have came up with a lot of these initiatives to stop and ease the school to prison pipeline. I ain't even gonna go into that pipeline. So they out here, these organizations. Another one that I was involved with when I was young was the Harlem Children's Zone. There's countless organizations out right now. So if their school doesn't have a sports team or certain clubs that they're interested in, think about putting them in after-school programs that's outside of the school, and a lot of nonprofit organizations. Just want to thank you guys for watching the video all the way to the end. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, and just let me know any other topics, anything that you would like to hear about. All right? And also, don't forget to check out the merch in the description. Talk to you guys later.